The quaint town of Tinsel Creek nestled peacefully beneath a canopy of evergreen trees. As the first snowfall of the season dusted the streets, the townsfolk prepared for the annual Christmas decorations competition. Neighbors engaged in friendly rivalries, turning their homes into dazzling displays of festive cheer. Little did they know, however, that this year's competition would usher in a holiday horror unlike any other. In the early evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the streets of Tinsel Creek transformed into a winter wonderland. The soft glow of fairy lights illuminated a snow-laden landscape, casting a warm ambience over the picturesque town. Yet, beneath the shimmering lights, a subtle unease lingered in the air. The Johnson family, excitedly stringing lights on the eaves of their Victorian home, was among the first to notice the anomaly. The once steady glow of their decorations began to flicker erratically, dancing with an eerie malevolence. Mrs. Johnson squinted at the lights, her breath visible in the frigid air. "Frank, do you see that?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Frank, perched on a ladder, peered at the lights with furrowed brows. "Must be a loose bulb or something. I'll check it out." As Frank climbed down, the flickering lights seemed to mock the festive spirit that had initially filled the air. The Johnsons exchanged a puzzled look, but the unease was dismissed as a minor glitch, a hiccup in the holiday merriment. Down the street, the Thompsons were adorning their porch with an assortment of cheerful ornaments. Each bauble held sentimental value, collected over years of shared Christmases. Unbeknownst to them, however, the ornaments harbored a dormant malevolence. As Mr. Thompson reached for the glittering star to crown their tree, the ornaments on the lower branches began to sway ominously. Mrs. Thompson, noticing the subtle movement, gasped. "Honey, are you seeing this?" He turned, his eyes widening at the spectacle. "Well, that's strange. Maybe a draft?" But there was no draft, only an unsettling stillness in the air as the ornaments continued their sinister dance. The Thompsons exchanged a nervous glance, a foreboding sense that their decorations were no longer mere inanimate objects. At the local diner, where residents gathered to share laughs and stories, a buzz of concern permeated the air. The flickering lights and dancing ornaments were now a town-wide phenomenon, an unsettling undercurrent beneath the usual holiday cheer. Daisy, the waitress, poured coffee for a group of friends huddled in a corner booth. "Have you all noticed the decorations acting weird tonight?" Jake, a mechanic with a penchant for skepticism, chuckled. "Come on, Daisy, it's probably just some electrical issue. Happens every year." But Sarah, a school teacher with a penchant for the supernatural, couldn't shake off the eerie feeling. "I don't know, Jake. It's like the decorations have a life of their own. I saw my snowman winking at me when I passed by." Winking Jake. The group laughed nervously, trying to dismiss the mounting unease. Little did they know that the flickering lights and possessed ornaments were but the prelude to a holiday horror that would soon consume the festive spirit of Tinsel Creek. As the night deepened, the malevolence lurking within the decorations grew stronger, weaving an insidious tapestry of fear that would bind the unsuspecting residents together in a fight against a darkness they could not yet comprehend. In the heart of Tinsel Creek, where the town's proud Christmas tree stood tall in the central square, an air of anticipation mingled with the chilling winds of the approaching storm. The residents, still shaking off the unease of the flickering lights, gathered around the massive pine to partake in a time-honored tradition, the hanging of ornaments. Little did they realize that these cherished decorations held a sinister secret. The mayor, Mr. Henderson, a portly man with a white beard that rivaled Santa's, stood atop a makeshift platform, ready to place the first ornament. The crowd hushed in anticipation, the glow of the surrounding lights reflecting in their expectant eyes. As he reached for the first gleaming bauble, the atmosphere shifted. The ornament whispered secrets of long-forgotten sins, but only Mr. Henderson could hear them. A shiver coursed through his stout frame as he hesitated, his jovial expression replaced by one of uneasy concern. "Mayor, what's wrong?" called out Mrs. Harris, a retired schoolteacher with a keen eye for the unusual. Mr. Henderson forced a smile, dismissing the momentary unease. "Nothing at all, just lost my footing for a second there. Now, where was I?" He hung the ornament, its malevolent secrets contained for the moment, but the darkness within it lingered, woven into the very fabric of Tinsel Creek's holiday spirit. Meanwhile, on the outskirts of the gathering, a group of teenagers, led by the adventurous Jenny, eyed the ornaments with a mischievous glint in their eyes. Tommy, the skeptic of the group, scoffed, "Come on, guys, it's just a bunch of decorations. What's the big deal?" But Jenny, with an insatiable curiosity, couldn't resist the allure of the mysterious ornaments. "Tommy, don't be such a Grinch. Let's see what these decorations are hiding." The group, armed with flashlights and daring spirits, sneaked closer to the Christmas tree. As they reached out to touch one of the ornaments, a cold wind swept through, extinguishing nearby candles and casting an eerie shadow over the square. The ornaments trembled as if responding to an otherworldly presence. The whispers grew louder, resonating with the dark history of Tinsel Creek. The group exchanged uneasy glances, realizing that these innocent decorations held a power beyond their understanding. Back in the crowd, Mr. Henderson continued with the ceremonial hanging of ornaments. As the evening progressed, the whispers became more pronounced. The town's historian, Mr. Miller, a stooped man with a penchant for uncovering the past, furrowed his brow. "Something isn't right," he mumbled to himself, overhearing the faint echoes of the ornament's secrets. Mrs. Harris, catching wind of his concern, approached him. "Mr. Miller, do you sense it too?" He nodded solemnly. "There's a darkness here, buried in the history of Tinsel Creek. The ornaments are revealing long-buried secrets, and I fear we're on the precipice of something malevolent." As the ominous revelations unfolded, the residents, unknowingly entwined in a web of supernatural intrigue, continued to hang their ornaments, unaware that the very essence of their holiday traditions harbored a malevolent force that sought to expose the town's darkest secrets. The unsuspecting residents of Tinsel Creek were now on a collision course with a sinister history that would unravel before their very eyes, setting the stage for a holiday horror that would defy the joyful spirit of Christmas. In the days following the unsettling revelation of the ornament's ominous whispers, Tinsel Creek was gripped by an inexplicable tension. The once cozy town square now harbored an unsettling energy, and the residents, plagued by sleepless nights and haunting visions, found themselves drawn together by an unseen force. One frigid afternoon, Mrs. Harris gathered a group of concerned citizens in the local library, the building's creaking floorboards adding an eerie undertone to the proceedings. Mr. Miller, the town historian, shuffled through dusty volumes, his wrinkled hands tracing the town's history back through the centuries. "Something's been awakened," he mumbled, his eyes scanning the faded pages. "The ornaments are conduits to the past, revealing the sins that have long haunted Tinsel Creek." The group listened in silence, the weight of impending doom settling over them. Daisy, the waitress, glanced nervously around the dimly lit room. But why now? Why is all this happening during the Christmas season? Mr. Miller sighed, his gaze fixed on an old manuscript. The holiday season has always been a time of heightened emotions. Joy, regret, love, and bitterness, all amplified. The ornaments, touched by these emotions, have become vessels for the spirits of Christmas past. As if on cue, a cold gust of wind swept through the library, extinguishing the candles and leaving the room in near darkness. The air thickened with a sense of foreboding, and the group felt an unseen presence in their midst. Suddenly, spectral figures materialized around them. The ghosts of Tinsel Creek's Christmas past. The apparitions wore clothing from different eras, their ethereal eyes reflecting the pain of forgotten tragedies. A spectral woman from the 18th century, her voice tinged with sorrow, addressed the assembly. Tinsel Creek was built on the foundations of betrayal and deceit. The ornaments hold the memories of those who suffered unjustly, and now the past demands justice. The group exchanged uneasy glances, realizing that the town's idyllic facade masked a history steeped in darkness. Sarah, the school teacher with a penchant for the supernatural, spoke up, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and curiosity. "How can we make things right? How can we appease the spirits?" The spectral figures began to recount tales of lost loves, betrayal, and acts of cruelty that had stained Tinsel Creek's history. The group, now bound by a shared responsibility, listened intently, their faces reflecting a growing determination to uncover the truth. Mr. Henderson, the portly mayor, wiped sweat from his brow. "We can't let this darkness consume our town. We need to find a way to appease the spirits and break this curse." Guided by the ghosts, the group embarked on a journey through Tinsel Creek, retracing the steps of the town's troubled history. As they delved into the past, the spirits revealed the specific injustices that fueled the malevolent force. A forbidden love affair, a wrongful accusation, and a series of misfortunes that had befallen the innocent, all had left indelible marks on the town's collective soul. Along the way, they encountered spectral manifestations that echoed the pain of the past. The residents began to see the town through new eyes, understanding the depths of the tragedy that had befallen their ancestors. As the group traversed through time, a collective resolve strengthened within them. They would confront the malevolent force head-on and seek redemption for the sins that had long haunted Tinsel Creek. The ghosts of Christmas past, now allies in their quest for justice, guided the group towards the final reckoning that awaited them in the heart of the town's history, setting the stage for a climactic battle against the malevolent forces threatening to engulf their beloved Tinsel Creek in eternal darkness. As the group delved deeper into the secrets of Tinsel Creek, they stumbled upon a new manifestation of the malevolence that had gripped their town, the sinister whispering wreaths. These once charming symbols of holiday hospitality now hung ominously on every door, their crimson ribbons swaying in the chilly wind like tendrils of malevolent intent. One evening, Daisy, the waitress, returned to her cozy cottage to find her wreath behaving strangely. Its vibrant red bough seemed to tighten and loosen on its own, creating a disconcerting pattern. Daisy hesitated, her hand hovering near the doorknob, as the wreath emitted faint whispers that echoed in the empty hallway. "Am I going crazy?" she murmured to herself, her eyes narrowing in suspicion. The next day, the group gathered at Daisy's cottage, curious and concerned. Sarah, the school teacher, examined the wreath with a furrowed brow. "This is unlike anything we've seen before. The ornaments, the lights, and now the wreaths. It's as if every decoration in Tinsel Creek is cursed." Mr. Miller nodded, his eyes reflecting a mix of wariness and determination. "The wreaths, like the ornaments, are conduits for the spirits' voices. They carry the weight of the town's collective guilt and suffering." The group exchanged uneasy glances, realizing that the malevolent force had infiltrated every aspect of their holiday traditions. Frank, a sturdy construction worker with a pragmatic outlook, scratched his head. "So what's the plan? We can't just take down all the wreaths in town." Sarah, her gaze fixed on the whispering wreath, spoke with conviction. "We need to find the source of this curse, the epicenter of the darkness that has seeped into our decorations. It's the only way to free Tinsel Creek from this holiday horror." Determined, the group embarked on a journey to trace the origin of the curse. As they walked through the snow-laden streets, the wreaths on the doors seemed to multiply, their whispers growing louder and more insistent. The air buzzed with an energy that seemed to respond to the group's quest for answers. Their investigation led them to an old mansion on the outskirts of town, a dilapidated structure that loomed over the landscape like a specter of forgotten memories. The front door, adorned with an oversized wreath, creaked open as if inviting them inside. The group hesitated but pressed on. Their collective was stronger than the fear that threatened to consume them. Inside, the mansion echoed with the echoes of a tragic history. The group discovered that the mansion had once belonged to the town's founder, a man named Edmund Tinsel, whose insatiable greed and cruelty had set the stage for the curse that now haunted Tinsel Creek. The spirits of those wronged by Edmund, their voices carried by the wreaths, sought justice and redemption. In a grand hall adorned with dusty chandeliers, the group confronted the malevolent force that had taken root in the mansion. A spectral figure materialized, the ghost of Edmund Tinsel himself, a cruel visage of a man consumed by his own sins. "You dare to intrude upon my domain?" Edmund's voice echoed through the hall, sending shivers down the group's spines. Sarah, undeterred, stepped forward. Your greed and cruelty have cursed Tinsel Creek for centuries. The time for redemption is now. The mansion trembled as the spirits, no longer bound by the malevolence, rose from the shadows. The whispering wreaths detached themselves from the doors and gathered in the hall, forming a swirling vortex of crimson ribbons. Daisy, emboldened by the collective strength of the group, spoke with defiance. We won't let your darkness consume our town any longer. The spirits deserve peace, and Tinsel Creek deserves a Christmas free from the shackles of the past. As the group confronted the ghostly presence of Edmund Tinsel, the mansion began to crumble around them, the malevolent force weakening with every passing moment. The whispering wreaths, now free of the curse, floated gently to the ground, their crimson ribbons fading to a soft, warm glow. In the wake of the confrontation, the group emerged from the dilapidated mansion, the holiday decorations in Tinsel Creek now restored to their former charm. The whispering wreaths, once instruments of malevolence, now stood as symbols of redemption and unity. But as the group rejoiced in their triumph, a subtle jingle echoed in the distance. The town of Tinsel Creek, forever changed by the holiday horror, now faced the challenge of rebuilding and moving forward, knowing that the echoes of the past would forever linger in the shadows of Christmas. As Tinsel Creek recovered from the ordeal with the whispering wreaths, a false sense of security settled over the residents. The holiday decorations were once again aglow with the warmth of festive cheer. However, a new threat emerged, hidden in the heart of the annual Christmas Eve party, the Enchanted Eggnog. The community center bustled with laughter and joy as residents gathered for the festive celebration. The aroma of gingerbread and cinnamon filled the air, and the twinkling lights overhead cast a soft glow over the merry crowd. Unbeknownst to them, a mysterious batch of eggnog circulated through the gathering, an enchanted concoction that would unravel the fabric of their reality. Daisy, the waitress, poured the eggnog with a smile, unaware of the malevolent force within the festive beverage. As the residents indulged in the creamy concoction, a subtle change overcame the atmosphere. Laughter became tinged with nervous hysteria, and the warm glow of the lights flickered as if struggling against an unseen force. Jake, the mechanic, took a sip of the enchanted eggnog, his eyes widening as a wave of disorientation washed over him. Something's not right with this eggnog. Am I seeing things? His friend, Lucy, a florist with a keen intuition, nodded in agreement. I feel it too. It's like the room is spinning. As the effects of the enchanted brew intensified, the room transformed into a surreal dreamscape. The residents, now trapped in a shared hallucination, experienced nightmarish visions that blurred the line between reality and the supernatural. Amidst the chaos, Sarah, the school teacher with a penchant for the supernatural, realized the source of the disturbance. It's the eggnog. There's something in it, something that's amplifying our fears and distorting our reality. Frank, the construction worker, surveyed the bewildered crowd. We need to stick together. This isn't just a case of bad eggnog. It's another manifestation of the malevolent force we've been facing. The group, their senses heightened by the enchanted brew, navigated through the distorted party, encountering twisted versions of holiday decorations and encountering spectral figures that whispered haunting truths. The enchanted eggnog, it seemed, aimed to expose the darkest corners of their minds. In the midst of the surreal nightmare, Jenny, the adventurous teenager, spotted a spectral figure resembling her long-lost grandmother. The ghostly presence beckoned her towards the outskirts of the party, where the festive lights struggled to pierce the encroaching darkness. Jenny, my dear, you hold the key to breaking the curse, whispered the spectral figure. Determined and fueled by a mix of fear and courage, Jenny followed the ghostly apparition, leaving the disoriented crowd behind. The group, realizing Jenny's disappearance, rallied to find her and confront the source of the enchanted eggnog. In the shadowy outskirts, Jenny confronted the ghostly figure, who revealed the tragic tale of her untimely demise during a past Christmas celebration. The malevolent force that had haunted Tinsel Creek was linked to her unfinished business and the unresolved pain she carried in the afterlife. Back at the party, the group discovered that the enchanted eggnog had amplified their fears and guilt. forcing them to confront the unresolved issues that lingered in their hearts. The nightmare wasn't just a random hallucination, it was a manifestation of the town's collective pain. With newfound insight, Jenny and the group rejoined the party, determined to break free from the malevolent force. As they confronted the distorted visions and faced their fears head-on, the enchanted effects of the eggnog gradually lifted. The crowd, now shaken but united, realized the significance of their shared experience. The enchanted eggnog had forced them to confront the unresolved conflicts and painful memories that had festered in the shadows of Tinsel Creek. As the clock neared midnight, the residents, their bond strengthened by the shared ordeal, gathered in the center of the dance floor. The enchanted eggnog, its malevolent influence extinguished, was replaced by a renewed sense of community and understanding. In the final moments of Christmas Eve, the festive lights flickered with a warm and steady glow. The group, forever changed by the night's events, embraced each other, knowing that the malevolent force they faced was deeply entwined with the history of Tinsel Creek. As the first light of Christmas morning illuminated the town, the residents faced the dawn with a sense of resilience and unity. The enchanted eggnog had tested their spirits, but Tinsel Creek, with its newfound strength, stood ready to face whatever other horrors the holiday season might unleash. In the aftermath of the enchanted eggnog's harrowing effects, a sense of unease lingered over Tinsel Creek. The residents, now bound by shared nightmares and revelations, gathered once again at the local library to uncover the deeper roots of the malevolent force that plagued their town. Mr. Miller, the town historian, guided them through dusty archives and cryptic manuscripts, unraveling the tangled history of Tinsel Creek. The library, bathed in the soft glow of antique lamps, became a sanctuary for the group as they delved into the secrets that had long been buried within the town's archives. Sarah, the school teacher, studied an old map of Tinsel Creek with furrowed brows. There must be a connection between the cursed decorations and the town's origin. Mr. Miller, is there anything we've missed? Mr. Miller, hunched over a weathered manuscript, nodded. There's an old legend about the founding of Tinsel Creek. It's said that a pact was made with supernatural entities to ensure the town's prosperity. In exchange, a dark force would claim the town's holiday celebrations every few generations. The group exchanged concerned glances, realizing that the malevolent force that had been awakened during this year's Christmas decorations competition had deeper roots than they had ever imagined. Daisy, the waitress, shivered. So we've been living under a curse for generations, and this holiday horror is our penance. Frank, the construction worker, clenched his fists. We can't let this curse control our town any longer. We need to find the source of this dark force and put an end to it once and for all. The group, armed with newfound determination, traced the origins of Tinsel Creek back to a mysterious ritual site on the outskirts of town. As they ventured into the wintry night, the air grew colder, and an ominous fog clung to the shadows. Upon reaching the ritual site, the group discovered a circle of ancient stones, their surfaces etched with long-forgotten symbols. In the center, a weathered tome lay open, revealing incantations and pacts that bound Tinsel Creek to a malevolent entity known as the Yule Lord. The Yule Lord, Mr. Miller muttered, his eyes widening with realization. A being that feeds on the holiday spirit but demands a dark toll in return. The group, their breath visible in the frigid air, gathered around the ritual site. Sarah, her voice unwavering, spoke aloud the incantations from the ancient tome, seeking to communicate with the Yule Lord and understand the terms of the cursed pact. As the incantations resonated through the night, the air crackled with supernatural energy. Shadows danced around the ancient stones, and a spectral figure materialized before the group. The Yule Lord, a towering entity draped in tattered tinsel, spoke with a voice that echoed through the frozen night. You dare to disturb my slumber. The pact cannot be broken, for Tinsel Creek belongs to me. Daisy, fueled by the collective resolve of the group, stepped forward. We won't let our town be held captive by your curse any longer. We demand an end to this darkness. The Yule Lord, amused by their defiance, revealed the terms of the cursed pact. To break free from the malevolent force, the residents had to undertake a perilous journey into the Yuletide realm, a dimension where the spirits of holiday joy and sorrow intertwined. The group, knowing that their actions would determine the fate of Tinsel Creek, accepted the challenge. As they stepped through a portal opened by the Yule Lord, the familiar surroundings of their town melted away, replaced by a surreal landscape of twisted evergreens and swirling tinsel. In the Yuletide realm, the group encountered spectral manifestations of both joy and sorrow. They faced illusions that tested their resilience, and each member had to confront personal demons born from the shadows of their past. Jenny, the adventurous teenager, encountered a phantom reminiscent of her long-lost grandmother, testing her resolve to move forward without the weight of unresolved grief. Jake, the mechanic, faced illusions of his own failures, coming to terms with the guilt that had haunted him for years. The Yuletide realm, a reflection of the collective consciousness of Tinsel Creek, sought to expose the wounds that had long been concealed. As the group navigated through the surreal landscape, their bonds deepened and a shared determination to overcome the darkness fueled their journey. In the final moments of their quest, the group reached the heart of the Yuletide realm. There, they confronted the embodiment of the Yule Lord's malevolence, a monstrous entity woven from the shadows of holiday cheer and despair. With collective strength and an unwavering spirit, the group faced the Yule Lord in a climactic battle. As the first light of Christmas morning touched the horizon, the malevolent force shattered, and the Yuletide realm dissolved into ethereal mist. The group, exhausted but triumphant, returned to Tinsel Creek. The ancient stones at the ritual site crumbled, breaking the cursed pact that had haunted their town for generations. The Yule Lord, vanquished by the residents' resilience and unity, left Tinsel Creek, and the holiday decorations that had once harbored a malevolent force now sparkled with genuine festive joy. As the residents of Tinsel Creek woke on Christmas morning, they found their town transformed. The air was crisp, and the snow-laden streets reflected the warm glow of a sunrise unburdened by the shadows of the past. The group, forever changed by their journey, knew that the true spirit of Christmas had triumphed over the malevolent forces that had threatened to consume Tinsel Creek. With a newfound appreciation for the holiday season, the residents of Tinsel Creek celebrated Christmas with genuine joy and unity, their collective spirit echoing through the streets as a testament to the resilience of the human heart and the enduring magic of Christmas. With the Yule Lord defeated and the curse broken, Tinsel Creek basked in the newfound serenity of Christmas morning. The residents, once tormented by malevolent forces, now embraced the festive cheer that adorned their town. However, as the day unfolded, a subtle unease settled over Tinsel Creek, a haunting reminder that the supernatural entities, though weakened, still lingered in the shadows. As the sun dipped below the horizon, a peculiar mist enveloped the town. The familiar twinkle of Christmas lights took on an eerie glow, casting long, distorted shadows on the snow-covered streets. Daisy, the waitress, locked the door to the diner, her senses on high alert. "I thought we banished the darkness," she whispered to Frank, the construction worker, who stood beside her. Frank glanced around, his breath visible in the frigid air. "Maybe we didn't banish it entirely. There's still something lingering." Unbeknownst to the residents, the spirits that once thrived on the malevolent forces now sought to regain control. In the town square, where the Christmas tree stood proudly, the ornaments trembled and the lights flickered with an ominous rhythm. Sarah, the school teacher, approached the tree, her eyes narrowing. "The Yule Lord might be gone, but the spirits of the past aren't ready to leave. We need to find a way to finally put them to rest," she said, her voice carrying a sense of urgency. The group reconvened in the library, their sanctuary from the supernatural. Mr. Miller, the town historian, pored over ancient texts, his fingers tracing the words that spoke of the lingering spirits seeking resolution. The Yule Lord was just a manifestation. The true spirits are those who suffered unjustly, and they won't find peace until we address the unresolved issues that bind them to this realm, he explained. As the group ventured deeper into the town's history, they discovered that the spirits were tied to specific locations, each holding a painful memory that fueled their unrest. The abandoned mansion, the ritual site, and even the once festive community center were all focal points of the lingering malevolence. Jenny, the adventurous teenager, shivered as they approached the abandoned mansion. "This place gives me the creeps, but we've got to face whatever's left." The group entered the decaying structure, the air heavy with the weight of the past. Whispers echo through the dilapidated hallways, revealing tales of betrayal and tragedy that had long been forgotten. In a forgotten chamber, they encountered the ghostly figure of a wronged lover, bound to the mansion by the pain of unrequited love. Sarah, her voice gentle, spoke to the spectral presence. "Your suffering is real, but we can help you find peace. Release your grip on this world." The ghostly figure, its form flickering, hesitated before dissipating into a soft mist. The mansion, once haunted by the echoes of betrayal, now stood silent, its malevolent energy extinguished. With each location they visited, the group faced spectral manifestations and confronted the unresolved issues that fueled the spirit's unrest. As they ventured through the Yuletide realm once more, they sought to mend the wounds of the past and free the town from the haunting grip of lingering malevolence. Daisy, reflecting on the journey, spoke with a mix of determination and empathy. "We've got to help these spirits find peace, not just for Tinsel Creek, but for them too. It's our responsibility to set things right." The final confrontation took place in the community center, where the Enchanted Eggnog had unleashed its twisted illusions. The ghostly remnants of lost souls, each tethered to the community center by a tragic memory, materialized before the group. Frank, addressing the spectral figures, spoke with a sincerity that resonated through the room. "We acknowledge your pain, and we're here to help you find resolution. It's time to let go and embrace the peace you've been denied for so long." As the group faced the collective presence of the spirits, a serene calm settled over the community center. The spectral figures, their visages softened, dissolved into a gentle mist that faded into the ether. Outside, the mist that had shrouded Tinsel Creek lifted, revealing a town transformed. The Christmas lights no longer flickered with malevolence, but with a warm and steady glow. The haunted echoes of the past have finally been silenced, and the town, now free from the lingering malevolence, celebrated a Christmas that felt truly magical. In the quiet aftermath, the group stood in the town square, where the Christmas tree stood as a symbol of their triumph over the supernatural forces. Sarah, gazing at the serene scene, spoke softly. "We've faced the darkness, mended the wounds of the past, and reclaimed our town. Tinsel Creek can finally enjoy a Christmas free from the haunting shadows." As the residents embraced the genuine joy of the holiday season, the group, forever changed by their journey, knew that the spirits of Tinsel Creek had found peace at last. The haunting of Tinsel Creek had come to an end, and the residents, bound by a shared resilience and a newfound appreciation for the spirit of Christmas, looked forward to a future filled with warmth, unity, and the enduring magic of the holiday season. As Christmas Eve descended upon Tinsel Creek, a blanket of snow draped the town in pristine white. The air was thick with anticipation, and the residents, having overcome the malevolent forces that once haunted their celebrations, gathered in the town square for a joyous Christmas Eve celebration. However, little did they know that the remnants of the supernatural entities still lingered, plotting a final, desperate act to reclaim their hold on the town. The Christmas lights twinkled with a soft, festive glow, and the scent of roasted chestnuts filled the crisp air. Sarah, the school teacher, observed the festivities with a cautious optimism. "It feels peaceful now, but we can't let our guard down. The spirits might still have one last trick up their ethereal sleeves." Daisy, the waitress, nodded in agreement, casting a wary glance at the ornaments that adorned the Christmas tree. "We've come too far to let the darkness return. We need to stay vigilant." Unbeknownst to the residents, a subtle disturbance wove through the air. As the clock struck midnight, A sudden hush fell over Tinsel Creek. The lights flickered momentarily, and an otherworldly wind swept through the town square, extinguishing candles and freezing the merriment in its tracks. In the midst of the chilling silence, a ghostly figure materialized before the Christmas tree, a manifestation of the Yule Lord, weakened but determined to wreak havoc one last time. The residents, their joy replaced by a collective unease, watched as the spectral presence grew in intensity. The Yule Lord, its voice echoing through the night, taunted the group. "You thought you could banish me so easily. Tinsel Creek is forever bound to the darkness, and on this silent night, I shall reclaim what is rightfully mine." The ornaments on the Christmas tree trembled once again, and the lights flickered with a malevolent rhythm. Frank, the construction worker, clenched his fists. "We can't let this happen. We've got to face the Yule Lord one final time and put an end to this nightmare." The group, undeterred by the ominous presence, confronted the Yule Lord in the town square. Sarah, her voice unwavering, addressed the spectral entity. "Your reign of darkness ends tonight. Tinsel Creek deserves a silent night filled with genuine peace, not your twisted malevolence." The Yule Lord, angered by the residents' resilience, unleashed a barrage of spectral illusions, distorting the town square into a nightmarish dreamscape. The once festive decorations morphed into grotesque forms, and the residents found themselves facing apparitions born from the depths of their fears. As the group navigated through the surreal landscape, they encountered visions of lost loved ones, haunted by the shadows of their past. Jenny, the adventurous teenager, confronted a spectral manifestation of her long-lost grandmother, seeking closure and forgiveness. In the face of these illusions, the residents, bound by their shared experiences, found strength in unity. Daisy, rallying the group, shouted over the cacophony of haunting whispers, "We've faced our demons before, and we can do it again. We won't let the Yule Lord tear us apart." In the heart of the distorted town square, the Yule Lord reveled in the chaos it had created. But the residents, fueled by a collective resolve, confronted the spectral entity with a determination that transcended the supernatural. Frank, facing the Yule Lord, spoke with conviction. "Your reign ends now. Tinsel Creek deserves a Christmas free from your twisted influence. We face the darkest corners of our past, and we won't let you cast a shadow over our town any longer." As the group stood united against the Yule Lord, the distorted illusions began to crumble. The once twisted forms of the decorations reverted to their festive charm, and the haunting whispers that echoed through the night faded away. The Yule Lord, weakened by the residents' resilience, let out a ghostly wail before dissipating into the night. The Christmas lights, once again flickering with a warm and steady glow, signaled the triumph of genuine joy over malevolent forces. With the Yule Lord banished, the residents of Tinsel Creek found themselves in the quiet aftermath of the supernatural confrontation. The town square, once distorted by spectral illusions, returned to its serene state, bathed in the gentle light of Christmas decorations that now held a genuine and unspoiled festive spirit. As the first rays of Christmas morning illuminated the town, the residents exchanged knowing glances. The silent night, once unholy, had given way to a dawn of genuine peace. The echoes of the supernatural forces that had haunted Tinsel Creek were finally silenced, and the residents, forever changed by their harrowing journey, embraced the true spirit of Christmas with open hearts. In the quiet calm of Christmas morning, Tinsel Creek stood as a testament to the resilience of its residents and the enduring magic of the holiday season. The silent night had been transformed into a moment of serene beauty, marking the beginning of a new chapter for the town that had faced the darkest depths of the supernatural and emerged triumphant in the light of Christmas.